Today, at least part of the federal government came to the border. It was U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken in Mexico last week. Today, House Speaker Mike Johnson making the trip to South Texas and calling the crisis at the border a catastrophe. Johnson and about 60 of his fellow Republican members of Congress in Eagle Pass today.
That's also where Daniela Ibarra was. She was with them when they arrived. She joins us now live from the border. Daniela, what did they say?
Well, Speaker Mike Johnson said his visit here was eye-opening. He says that he got to see that migrant crisis, the impact it has on border communities like here in Eagle Pass. They had a press conference to talk about everything that they saw and everything they want to accomplish. But during that press conference, everyone's attention shifted about 100 feet away to the Rio Grande. I want to show you this video right now. This is video we shot during that press conference. You can see a group of 5 migrants wading through the water to come to this side of the border. 3 of those migrants, you can see, they're kids. One of them, a little girl who was wearing pajamas. Now, once the group got to this side of the border, Border Patrol took them into custody. Now, this congressional visit, it comes during a time where the number of migrants crossing isn't at its peak. On Monday, officials say 500 people or so crossed into this sector of the border compared to 4,000 just 2 weeks ago.
The situation here and across the country is truly unconscionable. We would describe it as both heartbreaking and infuriating.
Now, while this delegation was here, they visited the Border Patrol facility. They also talked with local sheriffs, they said, and people who live here in Eagle Pass. And next week, Eagle Pass is expecting another federal visitor, this time the Secretary of Homeland Security, Alejandro Mayorkas. And coming up at 6, you'll hear from Speaker Mike Johnson about what he says the federal government needs to do next. We're live in Eagle Pass. Daniela Ibarra, KSAT 12 News.
It is an unmitigated disaster, a catastrophe. And what's more tragic is that it's a disaster of the president's own design.
Along the border today, House Speaker Mike Johnson blaming the crisis at the border squarely on President Joe Biden.
Not all that surprising. He and more than 60 House representatives, all of them Republicans, spent the day in Eagle Pass.
Our Daniela Ibarra is live there for the second night in a row. And Daniela, we want to know what that delegation said and did in Eagle Pass. But first, we have a new development on the border. The Justice Department is now suing the state of Texas over a new state law that allows law enforcement to arrest someone suspected of entering the U.S. illegally.
Yeah, this is not one of the first policies that Governor Greg Abbott has had that has gotten pushed back. And Mike Johnson actually talked about that today. He was praising Governor Abbott for doing what he says the feds aren't doing, which are enforcing the laws here on the border. He noted the razor wire, the buoys, which you can see behind me. And he also said that the fact that the feds are constantly pushing back is, quote, absolute insanity. Now, while that press conference was going on, something interesting happened about 100 feet away. I want you to look at this video that we're showing you right now. A group of 5 migrants, including 3 kids, swam, or I should say walked across the river from Mexico. Border Patrol took them into custody during the press conference. Speaker Mike Johnson says states are having to take care of what he believes should be a federal concern. Now, Johnson says President Biden needs to step in now.
We represent over half the U.S. states because every state in America is now a border state. And we've seen that on vivid display today.
Now, this visit comes during what local officials tell me is a dip in migrants. On Monday, they reported having around 500 migrants come through this sector of the border, when 2 weeks ago, that number was 4,000.
Daniela, we talked about it a little bit last night as you did a preview of the speaker's visit. There are a lot of people in Eagle Pass and beyond concerned that this congressional visit was just for show, just a photo op. What did the representatives have to say about that?
Well, I asked them that, and they said that this was for them to really learn about this issue. A lot of these representatives came from states that aren't border states. We had people from Michigan, from other territories in the U.S., and they said that they wanted to come here and learn about everything. That way, when they go back to Washington next week, they can start writing legislation.
Another representative, Tony Gonzalez, was there just 2 weeks ago, as you were, during what he called a historic surge of migrants. All those people crowded in the fields behind you that we saw last night. They weren't there yesterday, though. So what did Gonzalez have to say about this visit?
Well, he said he was glad that all these representatives came, all his fellow congressmen and women. He wrote a letter a couple weeks ago when we were here asking for congressional leaders to step up. That includes members of both sides of the parties, or both sides of the aisle, I should say. And he said that the only one that responded was Speaker Mike Johnson.
And that's why he was there. Daniela Ibarra live from Eagle Pass. Thanks, Daniela.